The grocery store on Maple Street was always busiest in the late afternoon. Bright lights reflected off polished floors, shopping carts rattled across the aisles, and the smell of fresh bread floated from the bakery section. Customers hurried in and out, some smiling, some lost in thought, but nearly everyone passed the same checkout counter where Maria worked. Maria stood behind her register with steady posture and a soft, welcoming smile. Her dark brown hair was tied neatly at the back, and her simple blue uniform looked freshly pressed even after hours of work. She greeted every customer the same way, warmly, politely, and with patience. Few people noticed the small details that told a deeper story. They did not see the faint circles beneath her eyes or the way she sometimes pressed her hand against her lower back during a quiet moment. They did not notice that she had not taken a lunch break all day. Most thought she was simply dedicated. Only Maria knew the real reason. Before leaving her small apartment that morning, Maria had prepared a simple sandwich of peanut butter and jelly, wrapping it carefully in a clean cloth. She placed it inside her bag with the intention of eating it during her short lunch break. But when she thought about her 8-year-old daughter, Lily, she decided to save it. There was only enough bread left for one more meal at home, and she wanted Lily to have it for dinner. Maria's paycheck covered rent and utilities, but barely. The rising cost of groceries and school supplies stretched her budget until there was nothing left for extras. Some weeks she worked extra shifts to stay afloat, but even then, every dollar mattered. If skipping lunch meant her daughter would eat a little more, Maria felt it was a small sacrifice. Across the store, a man in a plain white button-down shirt and dark slacks browsed the shelves as though he were just another shopper. His name was Michael Harrison. To the employees and customers, he looked like an ordinary middle-aged man picking up a few items for dinner. In truth, Michael was the company's chief financial officer. Michael had a habit of visiting different branches without notice. He believed that the only way to understand a business was to see it when no one was trying to impress him. Without a suit and tie, without an entourage of managers, he could quietly observe how each location truly operated, how employees treated customers, how managers treated employees, and how the store felt on a normal day. On this particular afternoon, Michael wandered the store with a small basket, choosing items he barely needed: a carton of milk, a loaf of bread, a box of cereal. He paid more attention to people than to products. That was when he noticed Maria. She worked with a calm efficiency that caught his attention. She greeted every customer with genuine warmth, not the forced smile of someone following a script. She helped an elderly man count coins without the slightest hint of impatience. She offered a cheerful word to a tired mother balancing a restless toddler. Michael lingered near a display of fruit, pretending to examine oranges while he watched. Time passed. Customers came and went. He checked his watch, nearly 2 o'clock. Lunch hour had long passed, yet Maria remained at her station, scanning items and bagging groceries with quiet focus. Other employees took turns leaving for their breaks, but Maria stayed. She drank from a small water bottle now and then, but she never reached for food. Michael's mind drifted unexpectedly to his own childhood. He remembered how his mother, a nurse, often skipped meals when money was tight, insisting that he and his sister eat first. Back then, he hadn't understood the silent sacrifices she made. Only as an adult had he recognized the quiet courage it required. Something about Maria's calm strength brought that memory rushing back. He felt an urge to know more, not as a company officer checking on employees, but as a fellow human being who sensed a story behind her steady smile. When Maria's shift finally ended, she clocked out quickly, tucked a few coins into her pocket for bus fare, and walked briskly toward the sliding glass doors. The early evening light bathed the parking lot in shades of gold. Michael, acting on an impulse he barely understood, decided to follow at a respectful distance. He told himself it was simply part of his job, to see how employees managed their day beyond the store, but deep down he knew it was something more personal. Outside, a soft breeze carried the scent of rain. Maria hurried toward the bus stop, her bag clutched close to her chest. She looked neither left nor right, focused only on the path ahead. Michael kept a careful distance, not wanting to alarm her. The bus arrived after a short wait. Michael boarded through the back door, choosing a seat far enough away so she would not notice him. As the vehicle rumbled through quiet streets, he observed her reflection in the window. She gazed out at the passing houses with a mixture of fatigue and determination. After several stops, Maria stepped off near a cluster of older apartment buildings. Michael followed more slowly, his heart beating faster than he expected. The neighborhood was modest, small brick buildings, worn steps, the distant sound of children playing. He watched as Maria climbed a narrow stairway to the second floor and unlocked a faded blue door. Inside the apartment, a young girl's voice called out with excitement, though Michael could only imagine the scene. He pictured Lily's bright face lighting up when her mother entered, the way children's eyes shine when someone they love returns home. Maria's own face softened as she disappeared inside, her tired posture replaced by a quiet joy. Michael remained on the sidewalk for a long moment, absorbing what he had seen. This was more than an employee finishing a shift. This was a mother carrying the weight of responsibility with grace and dignity. Something stirred within him, a mix of admiration, compassion, and a sense of responsibility he could not quite name. Michael turned away, his mind already working. He thought about the company's policies, the wages, the hidden struggles of people who worked tirelessly to keep the business running. Numbers on a financial report suddenly felt personal. Behind every figure was a life like Maria's, filled with silent sacrifices unseen by corporate offices. The evening sky deepened into shades of pink and purple as Michael walked back toward the bus stop. He knew that what he had witnessed was only the beginning of a story. And though he had not yet spoken a word to Maria, he felt certain that their lives were about to intersect in a way that would surprise them both, and everyone around them. What he would decide in the days to come would not only change Maria's life but would also challenge the very way he measured success. The sun had already dipped below the rooftops. When Maria closed the faded blue door behind her, the quiet hallway of the old apartment building fell away, and the scent of warm air mixed with the faint sweetness of laundry soap greeted her. The moment she stepped inside, she heard the soft shuffle of little feet. "Mom!" Lily called, her voice bright and eager. She dashed from the small bedroom, her dark hair bouncing, a worn stuffed bunny clutched in one hand. Maria knelt and opened her arms. "Hi, sweetheart." She hugged Lily tightly, the tiredness of the long shift melting away in that instant. Lily's eyes shone. "You're home early today." Maria smiled, though she knew it was later than she wished. "Not too early, my love." "How was school?" Lily launched into a detailed story about her day. Reading class, a funny song they sang, a picture she drew of the school garden. Maria listened with full attention, nodding and laughing at all the right moments, even as her own stomach growled quietly. In the tiny kitchen, Maria placed her bag on the counter and carefully unwrapped the sandwich she had saved. "Here," she said, placing the plate in front of Lily. "Dinner time." Lily tilted her head. "Aren't you eating, Mama?" Maria brushed a strand of hair behind her ear. "I had something at work," she said softly. It was not exactly a lie. She had sipped water, but she could not bring herself to explain the real reason. Lily took a small bite, her eyes thoughtful. "It's good. You should have some." Maria smiled and kissed her daughter's forehead. "I'm fine. I promise." While Lily ate, Maria looked around the small apartment. The walls were clean but bare. A second-hand sofa occupied the living room, and the dining table was just big enough for 2 chairs. Despite its simplicity, Maria kept everything neat and warm. She had decorated the fridge with Lily's colorful drawings, a bright sun, a family of stick figures holding hands, and a large heart with the words, "I love you, Mama." Across town, Michael Harrison sat at his own kitchen table, a very different setting from Maria's. His house was spacious and quiet, filled with modern furniture and shelves of books. A bowl of fresh fruit sat untouched while he reviewed the day's notes on his laptop. Michael had returned home hours earlier, but the memory of Maria lingered. He thought about the careful way she had worked, the calm strength in her posture, the tired but gentle smile she carried. He remembered the small sandwich she never ate. Numbers flashed across his screen, quarterly reports, profit margins, expense sheets, but they seemed less important than usual. Michael had spent decades building a successful career. He knew the language of finance better than most, but tonight those numbers felt strangely empty. He thought of his own mother again. She had worked 2 jobs to keep their family afloat after his father's illness. She never complained, even when she skipped meals to make sure her children were fed. Michael had gone to college on scholarships and part-time work, determined to give his mother a better life. He succeeded, but the memory of her sacrifices remained like a quiet echo in his heart. Maria's face, with its quiet dignity, brought that echo back to life. Michael closed his laptop and leaned back in his chair. Something about what he had witnessed today demanded action. But what? He couldn't simply hand her money. That would feel intrusive and might embarrass her. He needed to understand more first. The next morning, Maria rose before dawn. She prepared a small breakfast for Lily, scrambled eggs and a single slice of toast while the early light filtered through thin curtains. "Morning." "Mama," Lily said sleepily, rubbing her eyes. "Morning, sweetheart," Maria replied with a smile. "Eat up. You have a big day at school." Maria walked her daughter to the bus stop, holding her hand and chatting softly about the day ahead. After waving goodbye, she headed toward the grocery store, her steps steady despite the chill in the morning air. When she arrived, the store manager, a kind woman named Denise, greeted her. "Good morning, Maria. Ready for another busy day?" Maria nodded with a quiet smile. Always. Denise admired Maria's reliability. She never complained, never asked for special treatment. Yet Denise also noticed the faint weariness in Maria's eyes. She wished she could offer her a raise, but company policies were strict. Michael arrived at the store a short time later, once again dressed casually. He carried a small notepad pretending to check prices and inventory. But his true purpose remained the same, to learn more. He watched Maria greet customers with her usual warmth. He noticed how she comforted a crying toddler with a gentle word, and how she helped an elderly woman carry heavy bags. Her kindness never wavered. During a brief break, Michael approached Denise. "Excuse me," he said in a friendly tone. "I'm visiting different branches of the company. Could you tell me about your staff?" "I've been impressed." Denise, unaware of his true position, smiled. "Our team works hard. Maria especially, she's dependable and kind. She's been here for 3 years. 3 years?" Michael repeated, pretending surprise. "She seems like a great employee." "She is," Denise said, lowering her voice slightly. "She's also a single mother. Works extra shifts when she can. Never complains." Michael nodded, hiding the thoughts swirling in his mind. The picture grew clearer. That evening, Maria returned home with another long day behind her. Lily greeted her with the same joyful hug. Maria heated a simple soup for her daughter while sipping water for herself. She told stories about friendly customers and silly moments, making Lily laugh. As they prepared for bed, Maria sat by her daughter's side, reading a favorite bedtime story. Lily's eyes slowly closed, her breathing soft and steady. Maria watched her sleep, feeling both deep love and a quiet ache of worry. She wondered how long she could keep balancing everything: work, bills, and her child's growing needs. Maria whispered a small prayer of thanks for another day. Meanwhile, Michael sat in his office late into the night, the city lights glowing beyond the tall windows. He had spoken to a few more managers across the company, asking subtle questions about wages, schedules, and family support. The answers troubled him. He knew the company offered basic benefits, but they were not enough for employees like Maria, who carried heavy personal burdens. He thought of ways to create a program, something respectful, something that would help without charity. But he also felt a personal pull he couldn't explain. This was no longer just about company policy. It was about a woman and her child who deserved more than silent struggle. Michael closed his notebook and stared out at the dark skyline. He had made financial decisions worth millions in his career. Yet this choice, how to help one cashier and her daughter, felt more important than any business deal. Tomorrow, he decided he would speak to Maria, not as a stranger, not as a distant executive, but as someone who wanted to understand and support. He didn't know how she would react. He only knew that the quiet sacrifice he had witnessed could not be ignored. As the night deepened, both Maria and Michael drifted into restless sleep, one exhausted from endless work, the other awake with plans forming in his heart. Neither could imagine how their lives would soon change, in ways that would surprise not only them, but everyone around them. The morning. Sky held a soft gray glow when Maria arrived at the grocery store for her shift. A light drizzle had fallen during the night, and the air smelled of damp pavement and fresh rain. She shook the water from her jacket before stepping inside, already preparing herself for another long day behind the register. Maria always tried to arrive a few minutes early. It gave her a chance to settle, to breathe, to arrange her thoughts before the first customer walked in. She set her bag in the break room, tied her hair back, and put on the simple name tag that read Maria P. She thought about Lily's school project, a small science display they would present next week. Maria had promised to help her daughter cut out pictures from old magazines that evening. It meant she would have to stay awake a little longer after her shift, but the thought filled her with quiet joy. Across the parking lot, Michael Harrison sat in his car watching the storefront through the windshield. He had planned this visit carefully. Today he was not carrying a shopping basket or pretending to be just another customer. Instead, he intended to speak with Maria directly. The night before, Michael had reviewed several ideas: a scholarship fund for employees' children, a meal program, an emergency assistance grant. All sounded good on paper, yet he wanted to hear from Maria herself. He wanted to know what would truly help without making her feel singled out or pitied. As he stepped into the store, he felt an unexpected flutter of nerves. He was used to boardrooms, to facing investors and negotiating with other executives, but this felt different, more personal and strangely more important. Maria greeted the first few customers with her usual gentle warmth. When she looked up and saw Michael approaching, she recognized him faintly as the man who had come in earlier that week. He wore the same plain shirt and calm expression. "Good morning," she said politely. "Good morning," Michael replied with a small smile. "I was wondering if I could speak with you for a moment when you're free." Maria hesitated. It was unusual for a customer to ask for a private chat. "Of course," she said carefully. "Maybe during my break?" "That would be perfect," Michael said. An hour later, Maria met him near the small seating area by the coffee machines. She carried a paper cup of tea while Michael held nothing but a quiet, steady look. "I hope I'm not disturbing your day," he began. "No, it's fine," Maria said. She tilted her head, curious. "Is there something I can help you with?" Michael took a breath. "My name is Michael Harrison. I actually work for the company. I'm the chief financial officer." Maria blinked, surprised. "Oh, I didn't know. I usually visit stores without notice," he explained. "It helps me understand how things really work. The other day, I noticed your kindness with customers and your hard work. It impressed me." Maria felt a faint blush rise to her cheeks. "Thank you. I just try to do my job." "I can see that," Michael said. He paused, choosing his words with care. "But I also noticed something else. Forgive me if this is too personal, but I saw you skip your lunch. It reminded me of my own mother, who often put her children's needs first. I couldn't stop thinking about it." Maria looked down at her tea. I guess I wasn't very hungry," she said softly. Michael offered a gentle smile. "I understand if you'd rather not share details, but I want you to know our company cares about employees like you. Sometimes we don't realize the quiet sacrifices people make. I'd like to hear any ideas you might have about how we can better support you and others here." Maria hesitated. She was not used to someone in such a high position asking for her opinion. "I don't know," she admitted. "I suppose small things help. Fair schedules, understanding when a child is sick, maybe a program to help parents with school supplies. But I don't want special treatment," Michael nodded. "That's helpful. And you're right. It shouldn't be special treatment. It should be how we treat everyone." They spoke for a few more minutes, the conversation gentle and respectful. Maria shared small details about her work, how some employees struggled with transportation, how a simple meal during long shifts would mean a lot. Before leaving, Michael said, "Thank you for speaking with me. You've given me important insight. And please know, you're making a bigger difference than you might realize." Maria gave a polite smile, still unsure what to think. "Thank you for listening." That evening, Maria returned home to the familiar warmth of their apartment. Lily ran to her as always, her laughter filling the space. "Mom, guess what?" Lily said, holding up a colorful paper. "My teacher said my science project is going to be on display." Maria crouched to meet her daughter's bright eyes. "That's wonderful, Lily. I'm so proud of you." As they prepared dinner, scrambled eggs and leftover rice, Maria's thoughts drifted to the unexpected conversation. She wondered if anything would truly come of it. People in high positions often made promises that faded like morning mist. Yet something about Michael's calm sincerity stayed with her. Later that night, after Lily fell asleep, Maria sat quietly at the small kitchen table. She sipped a cup of tea and replayed the words in her mind. You're making a bigger difference than you might realize. Meanwhile, Michael returned to his office long after sunset. He gathered a few trusted colleagues on a late video call, the head of human resources, the regional manager, and a representative from the company's wellness committee. We need to talk about our people, he said without preamble. Not just wages, support. I visited the Maple Street branch and spoke with one of our cashiers. What she shared opened my eyes. The team listened as he described Maria's dedication, her challenges, and the quiet sacrifices many employees might be making. He proposed a plan, a meal program so employees could eat nutritious lunches at no cost, a family support fund for emergencies and school-related expenses, flexible scheduling for parents and caregivers. His colleagues exchanged thoughtful glances. One manager said, "These changes could set a new standard. It's ambitious." Michael leaned forward. "It's necessary. We talk about growth and profit. But people like Maria are the reason this company exists. We owe them more than a paycheck." The meeting stretched late into the night. By the end, everyone agreed to move forward with a pilot program, starting at Maria's store. 2 days later, an official announcement appeared on the company bulletin boards. New employee support program launching soon. It promised free healthy lunches, a small education grant for employees' children, and a flexible schedule system. Maria read the notice during her shift, her heart catching in surprise. She turned to Denise, the manager. "Is this real?" Denise grinned. "It's real. Head office approved it. I don't know all the details, but it's happening fast." Maria felt a strange warmth in her chest. She thought of Michael's quiet conversation, of the way he had listened without judgment. That evening, she shared the news with Lily, who clapped her hands with excitement. "That means you can eat lunch at work, Mama." Maria laughed softly, hugging her daughter. Yes, maybe it does. But deep inside, she sensed there was still more to the story. Michael's visit had already changed so much, yet she felt their paths were not finished crossing. Something bigger, something neither of them could yet see, was still unfolding. The grocery store buzzed with energy on the morning of the announcement. Bright banners hung near the entrance. Employee support program, launching today. Customers noticed the cheerful signs, but the employees felt the excitement most of all. Maria arrived early, as always. She paused when she saw the colorful posters, her heart lifting. Only a few weeks earlier, she had spoken quietly with Michael in a corner of the store. Now the ideas they discussed were becoming real. Free lunches, a small education grant, and flexible scheduling, all written in bold letters. Denise, the store manager, approached with a wide grin. "Big day," she said. "Head office is sending someone important for a special meeting this afternoon. Everyone's invited." Maria smiled politely, though a hint of nervousness touched her heart. She wondered if Michael would appear again. By noon, a small stage had been set near the produce section. Customers paused with their carts, curious about the crowd forming around the area. Employees gathered in their uniforms, whispering in anticipation. Maria stood near the back, Lily by her side. Denise had invited the children of employees to join the celebration, and Lily had insisted on coming after school. She held her mother's hand tightly, her eyes wide with excitement. The stores, loudspeakers crackled, and a voice announced, "Please welcome our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Michael Harrison." Maria's breath caught as Michael stepped onto the small stage. He wore a simple navy suit, his posture confident but warm. She had expected him to attend, yet seeing him in an official role filled her with quiet surprise. Michael began to speak, his voice steady and kind. "Good afternoon, everyone. I'm honored to be here today to celebrate something that matters more than profits or numbers, our people." He looked across the crowd, meeting the eyes of cashiers, stock clerks, managers, and even customers who had stopped to listen. "This company succeeds because of you," he continued. "Your hard work, your care for customers, and your dedication make every store special. But we also know life can be hard. Some of you carry responsibilities we cannot see. We want to help." Michael explained the new program in simple words. Free healthy lunches for every employee. a family support fund for school supplies and emergencies, and flexible scheduling for parents and caregivers. Murmurs of appreciation rippled through the crowd. Then Michael paused. "I want to share a story," he said, his eyes softening. "Not to embarrass anyone, but to honor what inspired these changes." Maria felt Lily's small fingers tighten around her own. "A few weeks ago," Michael continued, "I visited this very store, dressed like any other shopper. I met an employee who showed kindness to every customer and worked tirelessly without complaint. I noticed she skipped her own meal so she could care for her child. That quiet sacrifice reminded me of my own mother, who once did the same for me." The crowd grew silent. Maria's heart pounded. "This employee," Michael said, scanning the group, "reminded me that real strength often shows in quiet moments no one else sees. Because of her, we are changing how we care for our team." He stepped down from the small stage and walked slowly through the gathered employees. The crowd parted as he approached Maria. "Maria," he said gently, his voice carrying across the quiet store, "you inspired this program. Your dedication to your daughter and to your work is extraordinary. Today we thank you." The room erupted in warm applause. Maria's cheeks flushed as she held Lily's hand. She felt a mixture of surprise, pride, and humility. I just do my job," she said softly. Michael smiled. "And you do it with heart. That's what matters." He reached into a small envelope and handed it to her. "This is a scholarship certificate for Lily. It will help with her education in the years ahead. It's from the company, with gratitude." Lily's eyes grew wide. "For me?" she whispered. "Yes," Michael said warmly. "For you." Tears welled in Maria's eyes as she accepted the envelope. "Thank you," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. After the announcement, the employees gathered around Maria to congratulate her. Some clapped her shoulder, others hugged her briefly. Denise beamed with pride. "You deserve every bit of this," Denise said. "You've been a rock for all of us." Lily hugged her mother tightly. "Mama, did you know this would happen?" Maria shook her head, still overwhelmed. "No, my love, I didn't know." The company provided a special lunch that day with fresh sandwiches, fruit, and warm soup. For the first time in many months, Maria sat with her co-workers and ate without worry. She watched Lily laugh with the other children, the weight of constant sacrifice lifting, even if just for an afternoon. Later, after the event ended and customers returned to their shopping, Michael approached Maria again. "May I walk you to the bus stop?" he asked. Maria hesitated, then nodded. Lily skipped ahead as they stepped into the cool evening air. "I hope today wasn't too overwhelming," Michael said as they walked. "It was, and surprising," Maria admitted with a small smile. "But very kind. I don't know how to thank you." "You don't have to thank me," Michael replied. "This isn't charity. It's about fairness. People like you keep this company alive. We should have done this long ago." Maria looked down at Lily, who was humming a tune as she hopped along the sidewalk. "It means a lot," she said softly. "More than I can explain." Michael nodded. "Your strength reminds me of my mother. She worked 2 jobs and raised us alone. I never forgot her sacrifices. When I saw you that day, it felt like looking back in time." Maria met his gaze for a brief moment. "Your mother must be proud of you," she said. Michael smiled, his eyes reflecting a quiet memory. "I hope so." They reached the bus stop, where a cool breeze rustled the leaves. Michael paused. "If you ever have ideas about how we can improve the program, please let me know." "You understand these challenges better than anyone." Maria nodded. "I will. Thank you again, for everything." Michael extended his hand and Maria shook it firmly. "Take care of Lily," he said with a gentle smile. "She's lucky to have you." "And I'm lucky to have her," Maria replied. That night, Maria and Lily returned to their apartment carrying not only the scholarship certificate, but also a new sense of hope. Lily taped the certificate to the fridge beside her colorful drawings. "Does this mean I can go to a big school someday?" Lily asked. "Yes," Maria said, pulling her daughter into a hug. "It means doors are opening for you." doors I once thought were closed. They prepared a simple dinner together, boiled rice and vegetables, but the meal tasted different that night. It tasted like possibility. After Lily went to bed, Maria sat quietly at the small table, the scholarship envelope before her. She thought of the journey that had brought her here, the long shifts, the skipped meals, the silent prayers. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to imagine a future that wasn't only about survival. Across town, Michael sat in his own home reflecting on the day. He had attended countless business events, signed contracts worth millions, and celebrated quarterly profits. Yet none of those moments felt as meaningful as watching Maria accept the scholarship for her daughter. He knew this was only the beginning. The program would expand, helping many more families. And while he would return to spreadsheets and meetings tomorrow, the memory of Maria's quiet strength would remain a guide for every decision he made. For Maria, for Lily, and for countless employees like them, the future suddenly seemed brighter, a reminder that compassion and action could change lives in ways no financial report could ever measure. The first weeks of the new employee support program changed the atmosphere at the Maple Street grocery store. Fresh fruit and warm soup now waited in the break room each day. Employees who once rushed through shifts without eating could sit together for a few minutes, share a meal, and return to their work with new energy. Maria noticed the difference immediately. The quiet weariness that had followed her for years began to lift. She still worked hard, she always would, but knowing that her co-workers had the same small comforts filled her with relief. She no longer worried about hiding her hunger or saving every last crumb for Lily. One bright morning, Maria entered the break room to find several co-workers gathered around the table, laughing over steaming bowls of oatmeal and fresh bread. Denise waved her over. "Maria, sit with us. We're trying the new breakfast option today." Maria smiled and joined them. As she tasted the warm food, a simple truth settled in her heart. She was part of something bigger than a paycheck. This workplace felt like a community. Her quiet sacrifices had sparked a change that reached far beyond her own life. Across town, Michael Harrison sat in a conference room filled with charts and reports. But today's meeting was different. The company's regional managers were sharing stories from their own stores since the new program began. A manager from another city spoke first. "We've already seen better attendance," she said. "Employees feel valued. They talk about how the free meals help their families." Another manager added, "We even had customers notice. They like that we care for our staff. It's good for business, but more than that, it's simply the right thing." Michael listened with quiet satisfaction. He had built his career on numbers and strategy, but these stories meant more to him than any profit graph. He thought of Maria, of the day he followed her to that modest apartment, and of the strength she carried so gracefully. Meanwhile, Maria's life outside work began to shift in gentle but powerful ways. With the scholarship certificate proudly pinned to the fridge, Lily felt inspired every time she looked at it. One evening, as Maria helped her with a science project, Lily said, "Mama, I want to be a teacher when I grow up. Maybe even a scientist. Do you think I can?" Maria brushed a strand of hair from her daughter's forehead. "You can be anything you dream of, Lily," she said softly. "That certificate is only the beginning. You will go farther than I ever imagined." Their small apartment felt warmer these days. The worries about unpaid bills still existed, but the constant edge of fear had eased. Maria could save a little each week sometimes. She even bought a small treat for Lily, a new coloring book or a fresh set of pencils. One Saturday morning, Michael visited the store again. This time, he wore a light sweater instead of a suit. He didn't come to make speeches or check numbers. He simply wanted to see how everyone was doing. Maria spotted him near the fruit display and approached with a smile. "Good morning, Mr. Harrison," she said politely. "Please call me Michael," he replied, matching her smile. "I just wanted to see how the program is working for you." "It's wonderful," Maria said. "The meals help everyone, and the flexible schedule, people are so grateful. It means parents can attend school meetings or care for sick children without panic." Michael nodded. "That's exactly what we hoped for." They walked together toward the break room. The shelves were lined with fresh bread and fruit, the smell of coffee filling the air. Employees greeted Michael warmly, thanking him for the changes. Maria watched with quiet pride. She knew her small conversation weeks ago had helped shape this moment. It reminded her that even the quiet voices of ordinary people could create ripples far greater than expected. Later that afternoon, Michael asked if he could walk Maria and Lily to the bus stop again. Lily skipped ahead, humming a cheerful tune, while the adults followed at a comfortable pace. "I've been thinking," Michael said. "You once mentioned that transportation can be hard for some employees. We're exploring a program for discounted bus passes or ride assistance. Do you think that would help?" Maria considered this and nodded. "Yes, many of us rely on buses. It would mean a lot." "Good," Michael said with a thoughtful smile. "We'll work on it." They reached the stop, and Lily turned to Michael with a shy grin. "Thank you for helping my mom," she said. Michael knelt to her level. "You know, Lily, your mom helped me first," he said gently. "She reminded me what matters most." Lily giggled and held her mother's hand. Maria felt her throat tighten with emotion. "Thank you," she whispered, "for listening, for caring." Michael simply nodded. "This is how the world should work," he said. People noticing each other, helping where they can. As the weeks turned into months, the program expanded to stores across the region. New banners appeared in cities Maria had never visited. Articles in local newspapers praised the company's employee-first approach. Customers spoke kindly about the change, saying it made them feel good to shop at a store that valued its workers. But for Maria, the greatest change remained close to home. Her relationship with Lily deepened in small, beautiful ways. Evenings were filled with shared dinners and school projects, not silent worry. On weekends, they visited the public library, where Lily explored books about science and art, her dreams growing bigger each day. Maria also found her own confidence growing. She began helping Denise train new employees, sharing her patient wisdom. Co-workers often came to her for advice, knowing she would listen with understanding. One day, Denise pulled her aside. "Maria, have you ever thought about becoming a shift supervisor? We have an opening coming soon, and I think you'd be perfect." Maria's eyes widened. "I never imagined. Do you really think I could do it?" "I know you can," Denise said firmly. "You already lead by example." Maria walked home that evening with a new sense of possibility. For years she had focused only on survival. Now, she began to see a future where her own career could grow alongside Lily's education. Several months later, the company held a large gathering in a downtown hall to celebrate the success of the program. Employees from many branches attended, bringing their families. Maria and Lily dressed in their best clothes, simple but neat, and took the bus into the city. When they arrived, Michael greeted them warmly. The hall sparkled with lights, and tables overflowed with food. Speakers shared stories of how the program had helped. A father who could finally afford school supplies, a grandmother who could care for her grandchild without losing pay. Toward the end of the event, Michael took the stage. He spoke about the journey from idea to reality, about the importance of listening to employees, and about the quiet strength that had inspired it all. "This program began because one person reminded me that compassion is as valuable as profit," he said. "She showed me that small acts of courage, working hard, caring for family, never giving up, can change the direction of an entire company." "Maria, thank you once again." The audience applauded warmly, and Maria felt tears fill her eyes. She stood holding Lily's hand, her heart swelling with gratitude and pride. That night, back in their small apartment, Maria and Lily sat at the kitchen table with a cup of tea and a slice of warm bread. The city lights twinkled outside their window. "Did you have fun today?" Maria asked. Lily nodded, her eyes sparkling. "I liked the big lights and the stories. And I liked when everyone clapped for you," Maria smiled, touching her daughter's cheek. "It wasn't just for me," she said softly. "It was for everyone who works hard, for every parent who sacrifices. We all deserve to be seen." Lily leaned against her mother. "You're the bravest person I know," she whispered. Maria hugged her tightly, a quiet joy filling her heart. For years she had carried the weight of endless days and silent struggles. Now she carried something new. Hope. Outside, the night breeze rustled the leaves. Inside, mother and daughter sat together, dreaming of a future bright with possibility. The world had not suddenly become easy, but it had become kinder, and in that kindness, Maria knew, lay the strength to keep moving forward, one quiet, courageous step at a time.